Okay, so got the B95 cleaned up, gave her a little bath yesterday. Knocked most of the grease off of it. She's about ready for a set of tires. And we're in the shop. One of the reasons I cleaned it up is I had a couple new cracks in the boom, believe it or not. And I've got this one gouged out. I used a gouging tip on a torch, and then I took a grinder and cleaned it up. The other side was the same. I've already got this one pretty much repaired. I think we got a good weld in it. Don't look real pretty. The reason this cracked here, and I'm gonna just tell you what happened. Years ago, it started to form a crack here on both sides, and this has probably been, shoot, I don't know, 5 years ago. It maybe 4. It had about 6,000 hours on it, so it's probably 5 years ago. So what I did is I come in here with this plate, and I added this piece of steel right here, this 1/2-inch plate from the bottom all the way to here, and I was contemplating going around this corner, and my thinking is we're a long ways from this crack, so we've covered probably the weak area right here. This crack started to form just this year, and IC Weld will tell you, whenever you add a piece of steel like I did here, you're taking away the flexibility of this steel. So instead of bending all the way down, now it concentrates it up here. So that was a bad idea. It worked good, you know, for a long time, but eventually, like I say, something else is going to give. This weld here is one I just threw on there kind of quick one day, and it's already got a crack. So I don't know why this has still got a crack here, and the other side's the same. But sometimes when you fix something, you make it worse, and that's kind of what I did by adding that plate. I should have just stuck with grinding this out, welding it up, and being good with it. But like I say, instead of doing that, I added this piece, and wasn't a good idea, was it? Was it, Roxy? Was it a good idea? This old doggy here needs her hair combed. She sheds, and she doesn't let you comb her hair, and she hates being groomed at all. So, and she's losing her hearing. Poor old doggy, can't hardly hear anymore. She can hear loud, deep voices, but like a whistle, she don't hear whistles. Roxy, what you been eating? Huh? You been eating something? Anyway, she's a good old dogger. Anyway, it's a good old backhoe. 12,400 hours right now where it sits. So I'm gonna just try doing a weld here. We'll keep an eye on it, see what happens. It's pretty easy to check that one. But what I didn't want to happen is for this to continue. It started to crack, and it was going out this way. So that tells me that the stress point's still out here, farther out. I'm kind of surprised it didn't crack right up to the pivot bushing. I don't know why it did what it did, but both sides did almost exactly the same crack and the same curve. So I'm hoping if I weld her up, try to keep it out of the rock. The rock's what gets them. I'll try to baby it a little bit, but this boom is, you know, if I add more plate, all I'm going to do is move that stress point to a different location, and it'll crack up here. It's already cracked here. I've repaired it there. It cracked there. Let me show you something else. The reason why it cracked here The original crack I fixed was up here. I added this plate, and guess what? It cracked right at the end of that plate. So once again, IC Weld is right on the money when he tells you don't put plates on your equipment. You're better off to put a good weld in, or another piece of steel that matches what you had. When you start adding plates to it, you take the flexibility away from one point, and it adds the flexibility. It's still going to flex. It'll put it somewhere else. So anyway, that's the story. Another thing, I had a guy ask me, he's got a LB75, and he said there's a crack in here. And I said, well, I don't think that's a crack. Every backhoe I've had this, it's like a crack in the paint. But what it is, there's a thin piece and a thick piece, and I believe the weld is on the inside of that. I never have welded these. I don't think this doesn't move. It's not like it's cracking. Now, it did crack through out here, but you know, I'm gonna look it over. There may be some other places that need fixed, but I really need a new one of those. I've got 2 standard sticks out here that I could, if I really got in a bind and this one breaks on me, I could put a standard stick on it. I'd sure hate to, because that Extenda-hoe it makes night and day difference on a backhoe. Really makes it. You can sling dirt a lot faster. If you got that stick stuck out there a little farther, you got more speed on your bucket. You can reach a lot farther. You can dig a lot deeper. You can even reach higher, I guess. But anyway, that's what's up in the shop today. I haven't done a welding video in a long time, but what I used, I should have videoed. I used a scarfing tip on a torch, and this is what a scarfing tip looks like. It blows out a stream of air that doesn't cut straight. It kind of blows out more of a rounded area, sort of like carbon arc gouging. It's a gouging tip. Yeah, you can see there's that other crack. It's not very long, but anyway, then I just took a grinder, and the other side I got a little bit too wide on it. But another thing, people say you should drill a hole at the end of your crack. Well, the problem with that is if you start following this crack, it doesn't crack straight through all the time. Sometimes them cracks are in an angle. So the best advice I got is be sure you get past the end of the crack. My crack stopped about right there, so I went ahead and gouged out a little further, went past it. But you can see I kind of followed the outline of the crack on this side, but you can see it wasn't straight on the back side. So how you would ever know if you drilled a hole straight through the end of the crack, I don't know how you would know that. The crack starts here. This is the stress point, and I can understand maybe the thinking on that in certain circumstances, but if we just drilled a hole here and welded this up, I don't know, it's not going to do any good. You're just going to have a hole out here, and it might not even be at the end of the crack. So I think it's better just to continue your weld out further than what you need to. That's my thinking. So that's that. I'm gonna go ahead and weld this one up. I guess I'll set the camera up here and you can kind of watch an amateur weld a backhoe back together. I say amateur because I used to think I was a decent welder, and I've watched some IC Weld videos, and I've gained a lot of respect for him because he does repair work every day. He does this kind of stuff almost every day, and he's seen, you know, been in business, I don't know, 30 years or so maybe. He's seen so much more of this stuff and fixed it, and he knows how to fix it. So, you know, that it's kind of like, if you want to learn how to dig a ditch, you come talk to me. If you want to learn how to weld, go see IC Weld. That's kind of the way I see it. But or if you want to learn how to run a backhoe, there's other guys that can dig ditches too. I'm not saying I'm the best there is. I know a thing or two, but if you want to get really good at repair welding, I think he's the guy to watch. But what I'm going to do is run a 60-10 root or filler, and it's probably going to blow out because I got pretty thin. This is only 1/4 inch thick steel, so it's probably going to blow out and get ugly. But I'll go downhill with the 60-10, and I'll fill uphill, I guess diagonal uphill, whatever that is, with 70-18, and probably 3 or 4 passes on that, and that's that. And I'm probably going to be right in your way if I weld. Well, I can weld left-handed downhill maybe. Yep, I got a little carried away on my depth on that. So what I might end up doing is doing a little bit of uphill. I'm gonna move the camera here. I'll end up doing a little bit of uphill on this and trying to fill it. Bit. Why they call it stick welding. And if I was really good, I would have not taken that much out. I didn't realize I was getting that deep. But I'm gonna take a grinder, I'm gonna thin that down to where when I put the 70-18 in, it's getting good penetration through that sorry weld I just put on there. I can almost hear all the welders out there cringing. Probably could use 70/18 on all of it. I'm just kind of set my ways. I like 60/12. And if I was really good, I would have a uniform V all the way through there. But like I say, I'm a part-time guy doing this, so. Hey, we got 100% penetration there. She needs a new boom. She's just getting stressed out. But oh well. I think it'll work. If not, I got a welder and a torch. We can cut it out and do it again. Really got a bad spot right there. I might grind that down a little bit and redo that. That don't look good, but this is decent here where it's starting out. That's the important part. Like I say, I think it might work. Worst case scenario, it doesn't. We're back here doing it again, but main thing is I want to keep it from ripping apart, because this cylinder tries to push the top off this boom every time you dig. So I mean, you're looking at a pretty good leverage for, especially when you got the Extenda-hoe out, you got a lot of leverage on that. So it's I don't think it's a bad design. I think it's just used too much when it was new. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, that's about all I got for you on that today. See what happens next.